This is the return of Apple Aperture, or is it? Many times we see Apple employees leave Apple and start their own companies with their own software, their own products. We've seen physical hardware, we've seen apps and software, and in some cases they blow up kind of big, right? You get Halide, one of the most popular camera apps in the App Store, created by former Apple employees, former Apple developers. And then you get products and companies like Pixelmator that were not, as far as I know, they were not former Apple employees, but they are developed 100% using Apple's platform, Core ML, Metal, and all the other technologies that Apple builds into their devices and into their chips. And recently, I'm recording this on November 2nd, right? On November 1st, it was announced by Pixelmator that as long as the acquisition is approved by the government powers that be, that Pixelmator is joining Apple. Apple is acquiring the Pixelmator team, which means the products are going to be going with it. Now, everybody, all the professional photographers around the world are like, oh, the return of Apple Aperture, which predates Adobe Lightroom, right? This is maybe not predates, but it was around the same time. Aperture existed at the same time as Lightroom Classic first came out, formerly called Lightroom. Right? And here's the thing, Pixelmator makes two products. They make Pixelmator, which is more like a Photoshop, and they make Photomator, which is more like a Lightroom or an Aperture. And they're both really fantastic products. They both work on desktop computers like MacBooks and iMacs, Mac Minis and Mac Studios, etc. And they also work on iPhones and iPads and Vision Pro. So Apple obviously wants these developers who have built these fantastic products that work beautifully to join the Apple team. But while most professional photographers are excited about the return of Aperture potentially, I actually foresee all of this technology that Pixelmator has built into Pixelmator and Photomator. I foresee it becoming part of Apple Photos. Now, whether Apple Photos offers a pro mode, which they could easily do, they can easily have a toggle for like basic consumer mode and pro mode, and then pro mode becomes like Aperture. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't want my pro mode, I wouldn't want Aperture to be iCloud based, right? I would love some iCloud syncing for it, just the way that Adobe has like a Lightroom mobile, right? I would love to be able to have certain things go to my phone, but I wouldn't want all my storage for all of my collections and folders and all that to only be in the cloud, right? And that's where Photomator really comes in handy, because I can actually browse by a folder. And by the way, there's other Mac apps and mobile apps that are very similar, right? So there's Gentleman Coders makes Nitro, very similar to Photomator, also fantastic. And again, I don't know for sure if that's a former Apple employee. My gut is telling me it is, but I actually don't know the answer to that question. But the people behind Gentleman Coders have made a lot of, again, fantastic products for Apple products over the years. Let me see. I'm just looking right now. Okay, as I look at Gentleman Coders, yes. Founded 2016 by an 18-year veteran of Apple. Just another good example of another former Apple employee who made a basically replacement of Aperture. So it's really interesting. Actually, the person who created Nitro at Gentleman Coders used to lead Aperture, the Aperture team. He led the iPhoto team and the raw camera and core engine image team. So this guy knows his stuff. So it is interesting that they acquired Pixelmator instead of Gentleman Coders. However, still, will it become Apple Aperture's return? It could be, but my guess is telling me that it's not. My gut is telling me that it's going to be part of Apple Photos. I don't know how. Maybe they'll adopt some of the features, but really what the people, the professional photographers at least, want, those who are listening to this podcast right now, what you probably want is the return of Aperture. Maybe we'll get lucky, but I don't think that's the plan. But I don't know. I don't work for Apple. We'll see.